So today I just want to kind of come and share some information that I've just been kind of going through on my own. Um, Although it's my intention to bring a lot of good quality content to this channel and helpful information, the other thing that I think that I can bring that's of value is lived experience. Um, I like to be able to share a lot about the weight loss journey, things that I believe are valuable and helpful, both from my profession as a nurse, but also my own personal experience. And that's kind of what I'm sharing today. So here we are, 2 weeks or almost 2 weeks past Thanksgiving. And I want to just kind of share a little bit about what's going on in my head. And perhaps this is something that you guys are dealing with too, or it could just be the hamster wheel that we've all been on for years and years, and why we struggle with sustained weight loss. Thanksgiving Day wasn't too bad for me. I actually would say I modified a lot of my intake and had a really good day. But what happened is it's the 2 weeks following that. It wasn't just one day of celebration, but it was the weekends that kind of followed where I was able to visit with other family members that we weren't able to see on the holiday. And it was also the time that we spent, at work. Sometimes our work is a little bit challenging too, and it's not always like when we were in school, where things would wind down at the end of the year or during the holidays. But sometimes we have jobs that actually get a little bit more hectic and stressful during the holidays. And so, in reviewing these past 2 weeks, I would say, the family events and the work events have certainly brought down a lot more extra stress. And some of the stress is good stress, but it's still stress that has contributed to a rebound of some weight gain. Not a lot, just a couple pounds here or there. The other thing that I'm really looking at is, we know that in the wintertime it's colder outside and the days are shorter, so darkness comes sooner. And regardless of whether we have memberships at gyms or exercise equipment in the basement, it's still harder just to put in a bigger workout that can allow you to burn calories and sustain the weight loss at the level that you may be used to in the summertime. So coupling all that information together, I think that's part of what's been happening with me, and I'm thinking that that could be happening with a number of other people too. So I've had to kind of look at those things and say, okay, what's happening? Where do we go from here? And I think when I look at it and I reframe it, it's not really that bad. But at the same time, it's not really where you want to go. You want to kind of go down. But I would also say the other thing that I'm looking at is that I'm constantly keeping an eye on it, and I guess what I'm giving myself credit for is what are the degrees of temptation that I'm facing. If it's spending some time with friends and family and having, uh, more of a comfort meal more frequently than perhaps a diet that's a little bit more balanced and rigid, or is it making extra trips to the cookie platter, where you just can't stop eating cookies all night long? For me, I would say it's more the first one, not the latter. And so, when you take that in consideration, it's like, hey, one of the things that you want to do is you want to lose weight so that you can live a better life and have a quality life, and that's the people that you spend it with. So it's not really worth giving up those people right now, if that's the people you want to be with later too. So you kind of have to make a little bit of compromise. So again, just kind of reframing it, it's like, okay, this is actually part of why I am trying to lose weight to begin with, is so that I can live a better and a more quality life, so that I can enjoy the lived experiences with these people. So with that conclusion, I'm like, okay, that's not too bad either. And now it just kind of gets me to, where does this lead to, because we still got some more holidays and we still got some more winter coming up. So I think it's one of those things where it's like you really just kind of have to constantly stay in balance and kind of keep focused. I think where we run into problems is it's real easy to get out of focus and just say, okay, I'm just going to let the whole month of December go, and then we'll see where we're at in January. What happens then, at least this is what I'm looking at, is it just delays the process of getting to day one. What do I mean by day one? Well, way back when you first start your weight loss, you have to get to day one, and day one is kind of a terrible day. It's the day where you start to put a little bit more restrictions on what you consume, and that usually leads to not feeling very good. Kind of having a headache because you're not getting the sugar rushes. You're kind of run down a little bit more, and sometimes day one is day two and day three too. It takes a while before you start to feel good. And it doesn't take long to really lose your momentum if you allow yourself to make those trips to the cookie platter, or or whatever your temptation may be. So it's more like, hey, let's just try to understand where we're at and get to day one. And sometimes you might have to get to day one multiple times, but let's get to day one and let's just keep moving forward as much as we can when we can. And that's where I'm kind of looking at it right now. It's like, okay, how many times have I been going through day one, or when am I going to get to day one again so that I can start moving in a positive momentum? And that, again, it's not just the diet, but it's also the exercise. Again, I firmly believe that the diet is the most important thing. You're never going to be able to do a workout that's sustainable enough for a bad diet. You got to have the good diet to support the weight loss. But the exercise is also important. I mean, if you're spending later nights with friends and family, or traveling, it makes it hard to get consistent exercise. But when can you get that consistent exercise? Can you grab? Is there a 3-day stretch where it's like, you know what, this is at least I'm going to get the exercise these 3 days? You got to keep trying to find that as well. But overall, I think what I'm taking a positive is that it's not far from my mind that this is a lifestyle choice, so to speak, that I've made, and that I do not ever want to give up on this, regardless of how much it might be a little bit trying right now. But I'm just looking at this saying, hey, this is part of how we have to get through these very difficult times, and it's okay. But we're going to get through it, and when we do get through it, we'll be approaching and tackling day one as much as we have to, so that we can start to get the positive direction again. So anyway, this is just something that I've been experiencing. My thoughts are, if I'm not alone, and my encouragement would be, don't beat yourself up too much, but at the same time, don't take too many liberties during the holiday season. It's real easy to have, tremendous weight gain that would probably set you back much longer and much further than you need to be. But just keep at it. Find the time and approach your diet on the days when you're not with friends and family as best as you can. Understand that it may not be great because you might have a little bit more of a struggle, and also try to find that time to burn the calories when you can. Again, not as easy when it's dark outside earlier, and when it's cold and hard to get outside if you're used to doing all your workouts outside, if you're in the northern climate. But anyway, if you like this information, certainly would appreciate it if you give us a subscribe and share with your friends. And I'll be back again with another video real soon.